This is the plaintiff, Donna Smith. She says she purchased the Mercedes-Benz from the defendant, and he sold her a convertible with a broken top. He has ignored her phone calls and refuses to take the car back, even though he knew the top didn't work. She's suing for $5,000, the cost to fix the car, and emotional distress. This is the defendant, T.O. Puvon. He says he told the plaintiff the right hydraulic cylinder leaks when you put the top up and down. But the woman loved the car and told him she would fix it in the future and drove it home. Now she's trying to sue him for it? Please. He's accused of not being truthful. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $600 for money he's now owed.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says the defendant sold her a Mercedes-Benz and the convertible top didn't work. But the defendant says the woman loved the car despite it having leaky pistons, which he told her about, and he owes her nothing. It's the case of, I got a bad case of the Benz.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Ms. Smith, talk to me. What happened here?
Well, Your Honor, I found the car on Craigslist, which probably was a mistake to begin with. But I saw it and I absolutely fell in love with the vehicle. And I reached out to T.O. and he was very receptive and very kind and very nice and everything. And I explained to him that I wanted to do something nice for myself and buy myself, you know, this beautiful vehicle, because I had just recently gotten out of an abusive relationship and I made it out, you know, unscathed and everything like that. And he said that he understood and blase splee and that integrity is really important to him and he would never do that because he's got daughters and everything. So anyway, to make a long story short, he sold me this vehicle and he explained to me all of the things that were going wrong with the car, which was absolutely nothing. And then he said when he opened the trunk, he said, this cylinder or something, it leaks a little bit, just replace the fluid every 1.5 to 2 years. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is like my first time buying a car. You know, all you have to do is fill up the thing, you know, that's all he said. So I'm like, okay. So anyway, the third day after I had it the first day. The second day I texted him and told him I love this car. It's the best thing in the world.
What kind of car is this? A 1998 Mercedes SLK 230 convertible.
Yes.
Okay.
And I bought it specifically because it was a drop top. So I went my entire summer without being able to use my top. And then I had to not only cover it with a shower curtain to keep the water from getting into it when it would rain, because the back windows wouldn't go up, the doors wouldn't lock. So I was
okay. Hold on one second. Did you know when you bought the car that the back windows wouldn't go up and the windows that didn't work? Did you know that when you bought it?
No, everything worked when I bought it.
Oh, so you mean that after you owned it, a 22-year-old car had problems after you owned it? Because when you bought it, it was when he had it, it was fine.
Supposedly. Supposedly.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. When you bought the car, I know that it was love at first sight, but did you test the convertible top and see if it came up and came down?
He did.
And so it worked, right, when he did it?
Yep, it worked when he did it. It worked.
All right.
Everything worked.
All right. So when did it? Things stopped working for you on day 3 of owning it?
On the third day, when I went to put the top down, it stopped in midstream. Trunk wide open, everything. I couldn't get it down. I had to literally drive it 2.5 miles to the first mechanic place I could find in the area because I was visiting my son. And they were like, we don't know what to do with with this, you know, but my boy up the street, you know, he can, you know, but he didn't know either. So I ended up taking it to J&L Foreign Auto Center. They've been in business over 40 years. So that's where my estimate comes from. And it wasn't, when I spoke to him, he explained to me, he was like, this is not something that, you just run into. This is something is long term. So he knew what was wrong with it before
What do you mean? I have no idea what you just said. Hey, wait. So did you, if he told you. What did he tell you? Tell me what he told you.
He said, this here leaks. And it looked like the thing that goes into the, Judge, I don't know. That goes into the that goes into the hydraulic pump thing that pumps it to go up and down.
Can I ask you a question? If he's telling you that there's a leak that has something to do with the hydraulic and you're in court complaining that you have to replace the hydraulic.
No.
Did you ever have, can I ask you a question? I haven't asked my question.
Yes, ma'am.
Will you please explain to me why you didn't have somebody do a pre-purchase inspection of the car to see what's wrong with the car? Because you're buying a used car that is not only old enough to vote, but old enough to drink. It's 22 years old. So there could be problems down the road, even if there's no problem now. Like, in other words, there could be a problem that a mechanic could spot that's going to cost you thousands that the defendant might not even know about. So why wouldn't you have this 22-year-old car inspected?
Well, Your Honor, it's for the diagnostic, it's $115, which I had done. How
much is it for the hydraulic?
Now,
how much? And yet you're suing for $5,000. You had a diagnostic done after you bought the car, not before you bought the car, correct? You didn't do a diagnostic. Did you do a diagnostic before you bought the car? Right, okay.
No.
I'm talking about having a mechanic look at it before you buy it so you know if you want to buy it. Mr. Pouvon, let me ask you a question. Was there any paperwork between you guys about this sale? Is there a bill of sale or anything?
No, ma'am.
Did you warranty this car to her and tell her if anything goes wrong, I'll pay for it?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Did the hydraulic issue that she's talking about, they're telling her it's $3,500 to change. Did you have any inkling that there was a hydraulic issue, and did you tell her about it?
Yes, Your Honor. I told her when she come look at the car, she told me she loved the car, and I told her I love this car too. Because I had it for a little over 2 years. It was a great car. I take good care of my vehicles. I told her that we drove 4 or 5 times a long trip with me and my wife with a top down. We love it. Okay, and I told her that the right cylinder got a little drip on it. This year might be good, but next year may have to be replaced. I told her that. And what she told you, that's a lie, what she said about the roof is not working. Because it was working perfectly, Your Honor. I'd asked her if she wanted to ride with the top down, go home. She said, yes, please. I put the top down for her. She was very happy. She texted me a couple of days later, told me she loved the car. And I told her, Your Honor, that I love that car too. Please take good care of it. That's why I said.
Welcome back to the People's Court. A dogfight here over a Mercedes. The plaintiff is saying the defendant sold her one where the convertible top didn't work. Defendant saying this car was just fine, and whatever was wrong, he told her about it in advance. Let's go back into the courtroom.
Let me ask you a question, Ms. Smith. Obviously, you fell in love with the car. Otherwise, the car is beautiful. You're complaining to me because, according to you, too quickly, the hydraulic issue he warned you about ended up becoming a problem. Why would this be something he has to pay? Every used car sale is an as-is sale by default legally. That means, as-is means that there's no warranty. So if he gives you a specific warranty, if he says to you, I will replace it if this goes wrong, or if he says to you, I just replaced this, so this is gonna, or anything like that, you could call that a specific warranty. You have zero warranty, literally. You have worse than zero warranty because he actually told you this is going to be a problem. I don't know how long this will last. You're just mad that your gamble didn't pay off and it only lasted 3 days. I mean, there's no opportunity for someone who buys a used 22-year-old car as is with no warranty to go back and say, pay for my repair. It's just not what the law says.
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor. I understand that, but T.O. is not being honest. He said to me, oh, this leaks. you just replace the fluid every 1.5 to 2 years or something. We both were like, oh, okay, to replace some fluid, that seems easy. Your Honor, don't get me wrong. I understood that I'm buying, a 23-year-old car, and I understood that I might have some maintenance problems, a month or two down the road. I'm not thinking, on the third day.
I know, but see,
even...
I know that it feels bad, but there's no magic number. The day is the day you buy it. You see, you want it to last without a problem for 2 or 3 months down the road. That you would have accepted, but not the third day. But what you have to understand is the law has a cutoff point, and the cutoff point is the day you buy it. If you don't get a warranty from him, if the man tells you this leaks, it should be good for a year, your next step is to say, whoa, let me pay $100 for a diagnostic and see what the problem is. And then not buy a pig in a poke. But if it's working when he sells it to you, if you're driving it for 3 days, these are not things I can turn around and pin on him. I'm sorry, my hands are tied. My verdict in this case is for the defendant. Okay, now you have a counterclaim against her for $600 because according to you, there was someone else who was willing to buy the car, but you did the honorable and legal thing. You had already told her you'd sell it to her. You had already taken some money from her. So that person actually got into a bidding war, was offering you more. I get that, but that doesn't mean that you need or that you have a right to sue her and make her pay an amount that isn't the agreed upon amount. So on your counterclaim against her, 0.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So the defendant prevails in this lawsuit over the used car. Ms. Smith, I think everybody feels sorry for you. What do you think about the judge's verdict?
Well, I don't know what to feel about it. I feel, really bad because I bought this vehicle that I, literally can't use. You know what I mean? And I don't know. He lied. He is a despicable little man, So I don't know. That's all I can say. That's all I can, do.
Well, we're sorry for you. Sorry it worked out that way. Let me see what Mr. Pouvon feels about it. Mr. Pouvon, what do you think?
I felt bad for her, but the car is 22 years old, sir. But as it is, a dealer don't even warranty the 2018 vehicle. It's so as is.
All righty. Well, listen, you're lucky there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
She was pretty fair.
Okay, let's see what the judges are thinking about this case.
Every used car is a gamble when you buy it. As you said, it's an as-is sale. It's presumptively no warranty, etc. And in this case, the gamble just didn't pay off. She pays $3,500, $3,800, something like that for the car, and then she ends up with a repair that's going to cost her almost that much. But these things, 22-year-old cars are kind of ticking time bombs. You don't know what's going to go wrong. He couldn't have known what was going to go wrong.
It could be a beautiful car. I didn't mean, we've bought 22-year-old cars.
Right.
I mean,
they have
it's
all
just
kinds
that when you buy it, you have to have a little surplus here for everything that's going to go wrong.
Right. Once they're out of warranty, you just never know what's going to happen.
Especially when you're buying a 22-year-old car, because it's pretty, because it's a Mercedes, because it's a convertible.
Right.
So it's, this isn't a utilitarian vehicle you're buying.
Right.
This is something that is a luxury. So you need to have a little bit of luxury money to put into the luxury.
Okay, Amy wants to know this. Hey, Harvey, can a landlord place your security deposit in an interest-bearing account and keep all of the earnings at the end of the tenancy? Really depends on the state you're in. There are a lot of states now that say it has to go in an interest-bearing account and the interest goes to the tenant because the landlord isn't supposed to use it until the end if there's damage or if there's back rent due. So you got to check your state, but if your state requires an interest-bearing account, it probably says you're entitled to the interest. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case inside the courtroom.